All right, welcome everybody to the Foundational Structure Working Group meeting for 11th of November, it appears. Let's hop into the
11th.
what? No, 30th of November. The numbers there.
No.
Only Americans because it's early here. I didn't just looking at numbers and the date. Use FIPS preview packages.
Oh yeah, I didn't look at it. What Bayan was suggesting.
All right, yeah. So some things to look at here. I need to re-review it. Still in progress.
Yeah, it was about that sys thing.
There's something in here.
Yeah, it was Bayan who was mentioning that we should do it another way.
But I thought we changed that. Like, is this even in there still?
No, it's in there. This was always in there because this is the part for the Azure one. So this was always in there. It's not something for FIPS.
Is there actually a nil value in the array, or is this just like a typo?
So I removed the yeah, for the comma, I don't know. That's probably just what should be removed. And but yeah, the other one. The comma should just be removed. That's true. Because I first did it a different way.
Okay. And that's pending review. Remove unused Ruby 3.1 package. That sounds...
It's in there for a while. I don't know why. We can just remove this.
None of the jobs depend on it?
No.
Well, that was strange.
It's just a leftover, I think, for backwards compatibility at that point.
But how is it for backwards compatibility? Like,
I don't know.
If it's not referenced by anything.
I don't know. It's just probably what someone thought.
I think it's just a cleanup leftover from like the
Yeah.
auto bumping.
Could be.
Although does the auto bumping doesn't, does it float?
No, does not do major or minor.
Yeah. I'll take a look after the meeting. Is this?
This is a massive one.
Yeah, the big one.
Why don't you give us the rundown on it?
Yeah, so when I worked on documenting better the spec object inside the ERB templates, I've been through that rendering code, and with Bosch V1 templates, we are meaning something else, jobs. And here in that part of the code, we are dealing with templates, ERB templates, not to be confused, but and so the refactoring has not been conducted until the end. There were still many templates where the meaning was job. And it tended to make the code clumsy. The code is overly complex. It's very simple. You have templates, you have values, you render the templates, and you have 5 or 6 objects doing that with a loader, a cache. It's insane. But so simply using the correct variables, I could identify duplicates, duplicate information, or we were unzipping, decompressing the job.mf spec for the job, getting the job name from there. What the hell? The job name is already in the database. Pick the job name from the database, or the list of templates. we already have persisted that value. So it leads to simplifying because suddenly you better understand what is going on.
So it speeds it up.
A little bit.
Probably the development of it, at least. Question that I don't know if anybody knows. Do we still support V1 manifests in Bosch? And if so, does
Yes.
this change that? Okay. Does this
Ye-
change
yes.
any of that functionality?
No.
Okay.
We do need version 1 manifest because for create-env, we need to specify something about the CPI that we use, we use with the CLI. And here, there is no change at all. It's only about naming
But-
things.
Wait,
Uh,
what should,
Did we remove the V1 like a year and a half ago?
We removed CPI V1 support,
Oh, okay.
but not manifest V1 as far as I know. If that was removed, it was removed many
Without
years
us
ago.
knowing.
yeah, and the Bosch template gem is being used in Bosch create-env. That's what you're saying.
Because creative is a CLI
Um,
thing versus a director thing.
and I don't know what is rendering the RB templates with create-env.
Don't look at it. Trust me. You don't want to know.
It-
But in general, create-env is supporting version 2 as well, right?
That's a good question. I mean,
I mean,
we
I
all-
asked that 1.5
primarily-
years ago in Slack, and at that point in time, the answer was yes. I only wanted to ensure it because we plan to switch our, create-env manifest to version 2 soon. And if this now,
Depends on what you mean by version 2. I mean, you can specify the properties at the job level. That's supported. But you must specify the CPI parameters. So that's the cloud properties.
Yeah.
And
cloud provider
uh,
and the
cloud provider. You don't
network
and
section.
network section because you don't have any cloud config anyway. So
Yeah.
you need what was replacing cloud configs with Bosch V1. But the specifying the variables at the job level and not at the root or not at the instance group level, that is supported.
okay, good.
It's like 1.5.
Yeah,
Mm.
great. 1.5 is enough.
All right. Good overview of this. Did that actually work? I don't. Well, it's probably too late now.
And for reviewing, I've separated the bits of the work into the commits. So yeah, I don't think it's possible to review only reading the compacted the final diff. It's easier with individual commits.
Okay. I look forward to getting in there and not being thoroughly confused at some point in the future.
This cannot be reviewed yet, right, Matthias? Because still need to do for the KMS driver part.
No, I guess that's in.
Are you sure? Because when we discussed it was with the KMS driver that was also still failing.
No, but the KMS driver is this copy AMI drive.
Yeah, but the file is not in the change. In the
Fuck,
file
I did
is
not
in.
push it. No, then we cannot. Yeah.
I mean, you
No.
can assign reviewers, like if you just need to push something, right? Like,
They're probably not going to review it immediately. We're not that prompt.
I thought that. Yeah.
if you can fix it during this call, then it's okay.
Just
Some
wait.
background coding.
Why does this interface not work?
It is working because it assigns the person.
But it only like selected one group, so I assume it only assigned somebody from that one group.
No. The one is yeah. I don't know.
So one group has auto assign, the other group doesn't have that. Like, so the approvers has this configuration where it picks 2 people from that group and assigns them directly. And the
Mm,
other one has like it's assigned as the whole group because it's more like an optional, more of a notification mechanism.
got it. So I should still assign both or only the approvers?
You should assign both because then like reviewers get notified so that there's an option for them to, I don't know, get their point on becoming approvers, and approvers will get picked from the group.
That makes sense. So waiting for changes here. I don't even remember this one. I
Can you
don't
review
think.
that?
Oh no, I remember this.
We discussed this shortly last time. It's
Oh, sorry, I need to review that.
yes.
It was just
Maybe
documentation.
you wait because we did a round of so I requested some changes which a lot or they will change a little bit. That's why you better wait until we have the next version.
Okay.
This one.
It's the documentation part. I've modified the typos and I've pushed 2 more commits actually. Yeah.
Okay.
We need some.
With some reviews then.
So I've documented how you select the default network from an EIB template. There is a special helper method because it's an open struct. You cannot call the keys method to list the keys which are the network names.
Mm.
So, but there is a method called methods, and you need to pass the parameter false. And then you have the list of networks. You can iterate through that and select the one that has the default gateway, for example.
That sounds problematic for the future world. We'd really like to kill OpenStruct, if at all possible. So using methods that are sort of magically there because of it.
Yeah,
Is...
additional.
It's down
OpenStruct
below.
is really slow. So template rendering is really slow because of OpenStruct, right? So
Here, spec.networks methods false find. And I really don't know why. It seems in reading the code, it seems that we tried removing, replacing OpenStruct, and something was required to be. I don't know.
I think it's like the holy grail, removing OpenStruct.
I don't know if we get there. Yeah, it's OpenStruct causes large deployments to just take forever to it's a big piece of why it takes large deployments a long time to render templates. You sit there for like an hour sometimes at the rendering templates phase for large deployments. And OpenStruct is a non-zero percentage of that time is because it's not a good thing. What OpenStruct does inside of Ruby is bad. So we'd like to get rid of it, but then we find things like this where it's like, oh, this is kind of part of the interface that people are using, which makes me think we're never going to get rid of OpenStruct and we should just come up with a new templating thing. And it's like, everybody move over here and get away from that old world, and template rendering could be fast. That's probably not happening this week.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've documented that because I thought that this trick had already leaked at the time of Dr. Nick or something. I think I have read it somewhere and just found it again in the code, looking for some
Yeah,
way to...
if there's people out there using it, it's probably good for, even if we'd rather people not use it, it's good to document, because then if we try to replace OpenStruct, at least we have a source of docs for things we know that people are using.
Okay. Yeah.
And this one looks good. Oh, this is the global flags, which got shipped. That was something. Oh, did I recomment that? I didn't.
This
Oh,
is
that was
only the
long.
documentation, right?
Yeah, it's only
Yes.
documentation. We just updated the CLI version from when it's available. That's
Oh,
why it was
perfect.
pending. And yeah, it should be done now.
All right.
I also asked our internal team, which contributed the PCAP integration to provide the docs. They will do this. So last time we noticed that we don't have docs about the PCAP integration in the CLI.
Right.
Yeah.
And
More docs to come.
this one's good. We'll merge this one in.
Docs is trendy. It's the
The
place
year
to
of
be.
docs.
Is it because it's now easier to write docs with ChatGPT or?
I don't see how this could go badly. I feel like this wasn't here a minute ago, but now it is,
No,
and we think it's great. Look at
he
that!
just updated it, so.
Look at the progress we're making.
Ooh.
This is where you start left to right, so you can just click merge before the end of the meeting. Enable ephemeral external IP for GCP cloud config.
Yeah, we already removed some stuff from the external IPs for GCP for BBL, and now we can also remove it from here, right? I think it was still left over. Because in the beginning we didn't set up the Nets gateway,
Hmm.
so everything needed to have an external IP to be able to connect to it.
But part of the bubble Terraform makes the NAT gateway now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds good
that
then.
was a previous PR that is now included. So there's simply no need for external ephemeral IPs. The problem was that if there were orphaned IPs, they would incur additional cost. This could happen sometimes.
That sounds like a different problem with the CPI, but this will help avoid it at least. Thank you for that.
Look at how clean it's getting.
I
It's
know.
amazing.
Except for that Don column, 50 things done.
Do those ever go away?
No, and sometimes eventually it will kill the automation because there's a limit on the amount of tickets we can have.
And you need,
It's a good problem
isn't
to
there
have.
some archive thing or something?
Yeah, so we have a Don, like a board with all the Don tickets, like it's the last tab. And there you can click and then archive everything or something.
Yeah, we'll do that once
But,
it breaks the automation.
Yeah.
Got to see the limit.
Yeah, maybe they increase the limit.
Yeah, that was for some reason I think the RCI pipeline created a GitHub release for it, but it didn't actually made a release, and I think this person got confused about it. Because the latest release is 2220.
And where are they getting the 221 from?
From the GitHub release. So the GitHub, if you go to the GitHub page, release page, then you actually see 221. It's probably the CI created for some reason because the bot updated, the Panda bot updated something. So yeah.
I have bumped to that new version.
You can, because it's not an actual version. If you go to the releases, then there is no. It confuses me in the beginning also. I was like, why wouldn't it work?
All right. This is done by our automation, I think, which shouldn't ever do this. So I'll take a look
I
after
don't
the
know where
meeting.
this is. I think it's hosted on the VMware side, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is. And it like never runs because it's got automation to like bump when there's a Go CVE, and like there's like 3 tests in here that use Go, but none of the code's actually using Go. So like there's never CVE, so it just never auto bumps. So the fact that there would be an auto release is confusing.
Well,
But
there is, but if you go to the release, it says, if you go to the release notes, it actually says like bump dependency.
Huh. So the automation half works. In fairness, the automation on this pipeline never gets tested because it never auto bumps because there's never CVEs. All right, I'll take a look and fix that automation. Probably means there should have been a release. Yeah, that is true. This is true of all the stem cells in China right now. VMware's China account got deactivated due to some ridiculous billing issue with how China has to be billed and entities in China. And they've reactivated the accounts now. We started paying them again. Everybody was happy about that. However, the AMIs that were public are no longer public, nor can we make them public. Like if we go into the AWS interface and say public, it just stays on private. Like there's no error. It says you do it through the API, it says 200. We've had a multi-week issue open with AWS, and their solution was, did you try making it private and then public? And that's basically the only advice they've given us. And they're like, well, they've got their back-end engineers looking at it, but the China region generally doesn't work. So I'll comment on that and mention what happened.
Should we just hold the money until they fix it?
I mean, they're more than happy to just turn it off again. So we can't even publish new ones. So new ones are fine. Anything we publish new after that date, we can make public. Private public works fine. Only things before the account was deactivated can't be public anymore. And they're thoroughly confused as to why that is, it appears.
Seems
It's
like some internal permission thing.
Yeah, it's like some sort of like deactivated flag on the back end that we can't see because the account was deactivated. So this is AWS.
I took a quick look at it, but I didn't completely understand what he meant.
I feel like this was a new thing, right? This raw instance storage. Somebody made a PR for that this year or last year because they were doing some sort of whatever they were doing needed really fast disk access. And so they wanted to use attached storage rather than EBS volumes. And now it seems like the docs are wrong about that. That's probably true.
I can't even remember that we put something in like that. So.
Yeah. Instance store check. Oh, that sounds.
Raw storage is from 2017. Commits around it. Or 2000. Yeah, implement raw storage. Yeah, raw instance storage was 2015.
So I'm remembering something else then.
Maybe it was about like using it for a specific instance type.
That might have been it. It seems unrelated. Simply be able to replace the ephemeral disk with the instance storage. Yeah. So where do we put this? Open for contribution?
Yeah, sounds good.
Got a label?
No, it's a state.
No, it's a state. It's also a label.
State?
Status. inbox.
Status.
That's it.
And let's see, any of these updated? This looks like it has been.
Last week.
Maybe. Ah. Right. Yeah, I just pointed at the code after last week's meeting, I think, of where compilation happens during creative, which definitely uses bash. So Cygwin, maybe? I don't know. This maybe since our last meeting had a comment. Oh no,
These are
that was
open.
last meeting.
Yeah, open for contribution, right? Yeah.
Interesting thing about Go Cigar is that it has 200 forks. And if you go to Insights, forks, Elasticsearch has a fork of our Go Cigar that has like way better docs implementation. So at some point we might want to think about reforking their fork. Yeah, we just noticed this yesterday when we were like, why are there 200 forks of this thing?
Do they more updates than us? Maybe we can just starting to use theirs.
They do way more updates than us. They've like, yeah, we don't even have a README in ours, and they've got this like, this is what's supported in this library.
I've in favor of.
What's the license on theirs?
It's the same. I mean, it kind of has to be since they forked ours. But yeah, very interesting. We don't really have many problems with Go Cigar other than whatever this is, which maybe this is fixed over there.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can have a standard response. Have you looked at this this other thing?
Maybe you could find some code over there you could pull back into ours.
Yeah.
Put that in our README.
Who made Go Cigar anyways?
It's been there since nearly the beginning. Okay, so that was it for the open PRs and issues, right? Did I miss anything in here? Ending merge.
No, it works fine.
Now we got renaming.
I have one open PR, but I'm not quite sure if it's the right working group. It's the Bosch IO stem cell resource with authentication.
Yeah, that's not a working group. That's Concourse. We don't own that.
Okay.
That's not in the Cloud Foundry Foundation.
It's not at all okay.
No, but I mean, we have had discussions about trying to move it under the foundation. But I have pinged the because it is owned by VMware by Broadcom.
Sort of. Concourse is its own open source thing, but I think
yeah,
we definitely have at least one developer working on it.
Yeah, and I pinged them, and I think they looked at it. There was they did a review, and I think Joseph now needs to make some changes or one change or whatever, and then maybe they can merge it.
Wait, are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah, that's your PR.
My PR?
You made that.
Yeah,
okay.
you made your PR.
Let's check my email.
Yeah.
It's the authentication one on the Bosch IO stem cell resource.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So there's one small change request, and
okay, I'll take a look at this. I haven't checked my email in at least 2 days, apparently. Yeah, I pinged the team internally on our Slack. I was like, hey, look at this. They're like, oh, it looks great. And nobody told me there was changes needed. Okay.
Because then if this gets merged, and then we probably have to change them to cut a release of this.
They asked me that, yeah. So I think the current plan is they're not going to ship a new version of Concourse just for this, because this is one of the embedded resources. But if they cut a
not
new
a-
version of the resource, you can always use resource types to pull in the latest Docker image for it. So that'll be a good
okay.
stopgap until they cut a new Concourse.
It's not an
Yeah,
embedded
okay, that's-
resource for this. Looked it up. Is it now?
Yeah, this one comes with, when you deploy Concourse, it's one of the default ones that,
All our
Yeah.
pipelines is all our pipelines are specifically set to.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we don't have any, we never reference this in resource types. We use it everywhere. Yeah, it's one of those things of the Concourse being built by people also working on CF at the time. Basically, they're like, yeah, Bashe stem cells and resources. That should definitely be one of the defaults in Concourse. Okay, I can take a look at that. My to-do list is open apparently. And then renaming the repo, which whatever I proposed, I think is probably wrong now that we want UAA on there too.
No, that was the whole point. Foundational Infrastructure Working Group. UAA falls under our working group.
Oh,
This-
did I actually pick a good name?
I think so.
Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. Fantastic. I was thinking ahead. So this has been, what state is this in? I can merge this? How come I can merge this? I didn't think I had any access to the repo.
How do you pronounce that? 5YQ?
I don't think it's been decided yet.
So when
can
we
decide
merge
here.
this, does the automation rename the repo, or there is a new repo created?
I think there will be a new repo created, and then someone needs to delete that and do the actual rename.
Is it going to do anything bad to the old repo in the interim?
No, so you should. That's why I think it's best to wait for the automation to create a new repo, because then you know that the change has propagated, and then it's safe to delete it and do the actual rename.
Got it.
Because if you do the rename too quickly, then it will create the old repo in its place, and then you lose the redirect.
Okay. Sounds good. Apparently I can do this.
This
News
is
to me.
interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like I should have access to that.
Oh, the technical lead in the working group, that's why.
But then, how do all technical leads get right access to the community repo?
I think so, yes.
I guess you
Okay.
still need approvals, so
You have approval. Oh,
yeah, right. But there's some safeguards. I can't, do whatever I want in here.
Yeah, you need approvals to merge, yeah.
Okay, so we can get that renamed. And then what is this? Bosch DNS?
Oh yeah. Yep. In the section of the README in the exemplar release was created to with BPM to showcase how to use BPM, but we needed somewhere to explain the best practices in release authoring. It didn't find its place in the docs. We can discuss that actually. It could come back to the Bosch.io docs possibly. And so here I'm documenting some, the use, Bosch DNS is quite cool, actually. I mean, it brings you cloud agnostic load balancer for free inside the cluster. It brings you the split DNS feature. You can override public names and get IP addresses from Bosch DNS. Private IP addresses. So you route the traffic inside the cluster using public names. Outside of the cluster, public DNS answer the public IPs, but inside, Bosch DNS overrides that and bring you a private IP. a correct private IP. So in my concourse deployment, I have that. The various components are talking to each other using the public names, but internally it routes with private IPs. And to be able to do that, I had to put some reverse proxy in front of UAA, because UAA doesn't accept to run on port 443. Yeah, there are some shims to apply somewhere to do that, but it's very interesting. And so yeah, I've put something like that, and I'm happy to get some feedback from you guys. There is something about the DNS aliases also. I've put an example that I've done recently with my GitLab push release, and the DNS healthy is also very interesting because it's not about healthiness, it's about readiness. In fact, when the DNS is unhealthy, it gets you out of the DNS record for the instance group. So the instance is taken out of that, but if you see that as a load balancer, that it means you're not ready to get traffic. And the final trick is to use pre-stop, because now in the pre-stop script we have information about whether we are going away soon, or temporarily, sorry, or permanently. So that is really the place where we should drain the jobs. We don't do that yet. I think people that have not migrated to pre-stop, and there is no need if everything is working actually. But so in pre-stop, because it's the place where we should favor our training now, we can also say to DNSRC, oh, you're not healthy anymore. So in fact, you're not ready anymore to accept new traffic. So you get out of the Bosch DNS while we are draining that instance. And when we don't have any more connections, and we've turned the switch off with the Bosch DNS, so we will not receive any new ones. We can have a timeout and turn the instance down with pretty good certitudes that we don't have. We have very few connections to kill.
Drain gives you similar information, and I know some of the releases use drain knowledge to do similar things and change the healthy state, even though it's still accepting traffic and serving it to let load balancers know, the Go router uses it. I think Concourse uses that information for some purposes too. Concourse workers know whether they're being recreated or just stopping and starting, in which case they use that to determine whether to actually kill the running jobs. But yeah, so you get some of that. I didn't know that info was available with pre-stop. I knew it was available with drain.
In drain, you have a trick, because you know if the persistent disk is going away or not in the after everything is turned down. So when you are on an instance that has persistent storage, I mean stateful instance, you know that if your disk is going away, it means that you're going away forever. So that's the trick. And we have exposed new information that was 2 years ago. Behind you were in that effort, I think. And so pre-stop can tell you more or be more precise.
During drain, you don't need to use a trick. You actually have an environment variable that's set, letting you know whether you're going to be stopping or forever or not. No, I think.
No, job next state. I have done that documentation actually. Job next state is is only telling you about the persistent disk after the reboot. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Bosch job state? No, it's current.
It's
only
current disk.
Okay, I must be mixing pre-stop up. Yeah.
And only in pre-stop, yes, you have those.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everything I said about drain was a lie. I was thinking of pre-stop.
I also tried to recall there was something with big disks, large disks. Yeah.
Mm. So yeah, happy to get some feedback about it. And well, what do you think of authoring best practice to be on Bosch.io, possibly? That's a
Around
huge
how
effort.
to use it. Yeah.
Well, in general, Bosch.io is very weak about Bosch authoring, Bosch release authoring. There's no real guide.
Yeah.
There is also the ultimate Bosch guide that is still around somewhere.
Yeah, definitely not much script usage. Oh, this one has some, but still no draining or, oh no, there's drain. No, yeah.
I've put a drain in the stateful daemon below. After sample app, you are in Paragon. There is sample app job, and
Oh.
yeah, you have the tree.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh yeah, look at
surprising.
that.
Yeah.
My brain still hasn't gotten used to the tree being there.
So yeah, I've proposed that as a standard implementation for having timestamps in front of the logs and dealing correctly with what you need to output when exiting. So it's kind of standard boilerplate you need to implement.
Makes sense for the exemplar release. It seems like definitely seems like some of this Bosch.io could probably use some more information, but it also seems like you don't want to overload Bosch.io and make it just this wall of text, and having the exemplar release, Bosch.io point to the exemplar release and like, here's a good example. Here's a good mixture of like level of detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, linking in the Bosch DNS docs on Bosch.io to specific things in the exemplar release might be useful.
Okay. Good.
All right, and then Bosch Ali storage CLI.
Yeah, this is something I would like to discuss. So within SAP, we plan to use the Ali OSS blob storage service soon. And there's no native implementation to connect this Ali storage to Bosch and use it in the agent and the director. And I just started the implementation and would like to contribute it to the communities. So to a Cloud Foundry project. Yeah, I just want to discuss if there is interest of this. It's more or less the same like we have with the S3 CLI or with the Azure Storage CLI, right?
It's the same process as the Azure one, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the very same, but at the very end, at the very bottom, it's not using the Golang Azure API, but the Golang Ali API, right? Yeah, that's it.
Seems good. It'd be nice if we had a more pluggable interface where you could like bring your own, but like I don't know how you get that into both stem cells and the director. Just so we're not constantly doing sort of, I don't know how many. I mean, there's most other ones are, S3 compatible, so you can use the S3 one. So I don't think we're gonna, have one of these every 6 months forever, but
yeah. So this is, yeah, I mean, the Ali OSS is mentioning that they behave compatible. And then there is a list of differences that you can find in the docs, right? And we are simply not sure, right? If it is compatible or not. But if it turns out to be incompatible while we run it on Live Landscape, then we do have an issue because we cannot fix anything, right? Because I guess we do not implement fixes for Ali in the AWS S3 CLI, right? Because that's just implementing the AWS CLI. Yeah.
This seems like a safer way to go.
That's yeah, my point.
Seems good.
Yeah. Okay. Then a request. Last time, Behan, you created a project for me, right? Or a project request. Maybe we can do it the same way this time.
No,
He's
I think
gone.
Bayana's gone. I think we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
have to trade a PR against the community repo.
Yeah, just a
I'll
PR.
ask him.
A PR against community should do it once it's
Okay.
created. Then yeah,
Okay.
just search the
Can
community
call
repo for one of the other CLIs and just
Oh, he's back.
copy
You
paste.
say his name enough, he comes back.
Match.
Okay.
Yeah, we can create the repo now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's so fun, yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything else?
Mm,
No?
no.
No.
Do we have
All
to
right.
discuss something FIPS? I think it's all clear, right? We need to get that PR merged. And once that's like the actual building thing needs to be merged, hopefully by the end of the week. Hope that we get that merged, and then we have the concourse one for the privates themselves. And then like as soon as we have the do we already have a stem cell in the private bucket?
We have stem cells in the private buckets, but they
Yeah.
are not actual FIP stem cells.
I was
Did we release one yesterday? I don't know. Then it should be one.
2 days ago, I think.
We still haven't merged this, so once we merge this, there will be an actual previewed FIPS stem cell that people can use.
And I saw the comments from you, Ramon, about the service account, right? So has that flow been tested? Does that work, Joachim?
No, it has not really been tested.
Because the bucket is there, right? So you could just curl and try to, like, because I would like to know if the authentication flow, if that like
Okay.
all works.
I can do that.
For the
Spatial stem cell resource.
the Spatial stem cell resource I tested with the HMAC creds at least, and should work the same with the HMAC creds for a different service account, I would think.
Yeah, so it seems like with the buckets you're just able to make an ACL for every service account that's available, and if they have a HMAC keys, they can just authenticate. It should be the thing.
So that's what we did. I created those HMAC keys. I have not tested them, but as soon as the Bosch.io resource is ready, I would integrate that into the pipeline, and then we see if we can retrieve the stem cell.
Yeah.
Something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like it should also be fairly simple to check out that branch and just push it to Docker Hub somewhere, right? So you can have the resource.
Can do that as well. We still have the foundation Docker account somewhere.
Yeah, like we could temporarily do that, so we don't have to be blocked on Concourse.
Okay, I will create that tomorrow, and I will ask them to test it out.
Because then we can basically unblock ourselves, and then like as soon as Concourse releases their thing, you can update your pipeline.
Okay, great.
I was kind of surprised at Bosch.io because I know that we have a couple different Git repos that say what's on the indexes of Bosch.io. Like here's all the releases, these are all the stem cells. But like even if a release isn't in that index, you can still go to it and see all of its versions that are in the actual releases index file. But that's not true for the stem cells because I tried just browsing to the page. It should list the FIP stem cells and it wouldn't show me the contents. But the API would still give me that stem cell if I asked for it, and it would still list it. So the web UI doesn't show it, but the API does. A little bit surprising, but the resource handles it regardless.
Yeah, that was because of the regex. So the regex is being used in both the API, both when retrieving for the API and for when you do the UI. I think it's a different directory where you can list all the stem cells, and there you explicitly need to set this version with these IDs, and then it will only show it on the UI. Otherwise, you cannot go to it. So, but it's actually a good thing that it's only retrievable via the API in this way, because so people cannot get confused.
Yeah, I was just surprised that hacking the URL to put the name in there didn't then show me the versions.
Yeah, because for that for the main site, it needs to be explicitly set. Even if you basically fake the URL into the. But yeah, it was also strange for me. But when I looked at it, it made some sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Last chance.
And one last thing, yeah, I will submit some PR about the NATS subject certificates, a draft PR, and we may discuss something about it next week. I didn't have time to push that yet, but I have some questions that I would be happy to discuss together.
Foreshadowing for next week's meeting.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good week.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.